Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacqueline. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacqueline at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome to USA Global TV, and hello to our friends listening on Business Talk Radio. I am Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, and our show today is Talking Heads. Talking Heads is a platform for leading experts from across the world to come and present a lesson based on their knowledge and expertise. I am so proud of our team. We have wonderful team members who show up ready to inspire, to educate, and to motivate. Our talking head expert today is Diann Floyd Boehm. Diann is a wonderful person. I truly love her and care about her. She has helped me in so many ways. She is, in addition to leading her life with her heart, she's an international award-winning author. She is a teacher. She is a trainer. She is a collaborator, a networker, and she is backstage ready to present her lesson for today. Let's welcome her to the stage. Hi, how are you?
Hi, thank you so much for the introduction.
Absolutely. I'm so glad that you have time to do this, because I know that you are constantly creating new content, and I just really appreciate everything that you do, Diann. Thank you.
It's my honor. It is so kind of you to recognize me and to be with this extraordinarily brilliant people with Talking Heads. You have a great team.
Well, thank you. And you're going to lead us off with your first presentation on Talking Heads. I'm so excited for you. I'm going to spotlight you and take it away, Diann.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much, Dr. Jacqueline, for having me. Well, welcome, everyone. I'm author Diann Floyd Boehm, and today's topic is imagination. To be creative and to hear stories. Imagination, what is it? I like to think of it as the ability to dream the impossible. What can we do with imagination? Well, we can be creative in our jobs. We can have fun storytelling with our family and our friends. Carl Sagan, an author and a science communicator, he once said, and I just love this, imagination will often carry us to the worlds that never were. But without it, we go nowhere. So I'm going to say it again because I think it's really important. Carl Sagan, he was an author and a science communicator. Check him out. Amazing man he was. And he once said, imagination will often carry us to worlds that never were, but without it, we go nowhere. When we are young, our minds are free to dream, to be curious, and you know how kids are. They're always known for asking questions. Mommy, how do birds fly? Mommy, why do doggies like bones? Mommy, why is the sky blue? Mommy, 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 etc., etc. I am sure that you have experienced hearing that. But then, as we get older, we share our ideas with peers, and when they laugh at us and make fun of us, well, many of us, we just stop sharing dreams and ideas. And we think, I want to fit in. I want to go with the flow. But I always liked to encourage my students to remember Steve Jobs' motto, think differently. But you know, that's easier said than done. By the time adulthood comes, we have what young people refer to as adulting. I cracked up when my daughter, she said once, "I was adulting today." And I asked, "What on earth does that mean?" And she calmly says, "I was paying bills." I had to laugh. But then it dawned on me, she was right. Because as we take on more responsibilities to be on our own in this world, well, adulting interferes with our imagination. Even if you're a composer, the bills have to be paid. And sometimes you have to leave the world of feeling the music to do daily survival. As the saying goes, a family comes and you have to provide the bread and butter. Well, with all of that being said, let's unlock imagination by storytelling. So I have our keys and we're going to unlock imagination. And here we go. But I'm going to give you a few tips before I tell you a story. How to hear the story. I want you to prepare mentally. You have to want to hear the story. You have to set time aside to hear the story. You need to focus on the person delivering the story so as not to let your mind wander. You have to listen to the main idea. The keys, listening to the main idea of the story. You have to listen for facts and details of the story. That helps you retain the story and you're focused. So you're unlocking your imagination because you're listening so well. I want you to listen for the conclusion of the story because it keeps your mind centered on the story and enjoying it and traveling with your imagination and with the storyteller. So then you'll be able to understand the conclusion and maybe even share what you think the story was about. So now that you have a few of my tips, I want you to take a deep breath and let it out. And I want you to prepare yourself for imagination, pain, and triumph. Once a little girl named Jane was born into a well-to-do, loving family. It was in the early 40s in the United States. Her bedroom was bigger than some people's houses. Christmas was magical, and she never, ever wondered where the next meal would come from. Jane loved to color, and in school, her teachers encouraged her to continue drawing, that she had a gift. At 10 years of age, the world changed. Jane lost her dad, and her mom and sister moved back to her mom's small town in Missouri. Life was very different in this state, but Jane settled in. Jane's grandmother watched her sister and her when they would come home from school, while her mama went to work in the big city. As years passed, Jane still dreamed of going to art school, but her grandmother reminded her there was no money in art. And what if she ended up like her mama and had to support herself? Jane's grandmother painted a strong case for reality. Jane decided to attend secretarial school. She would help her mama pay the bills. Her art pencils were set aside for pencils for the shorthand. She worked hard over the years and she became an executive secretary. She flew many places with legal teams, took dictations, typed documents, and what love life she had. Well, She fell for guys who lied about their marital status, men who looked at secretaries as ways to meet their work needs as well as their physical needs. Over time, Jane gained weight. Her legs that once were known for their perfect shape had swollen. One winter morning, she went to the doctor for a physical, and much to her surprise, he immediately had her admitted to the hospital. Test after test was done, and finally, Jane and her mama were told she had breast cancer. The doctor shared how they would move forward treating the cancer. Needless to say, Jane and her mama were in shock. When Jane returned home from the hospital, her mama stayed with her. Jane stayed up late that night, sitting by the fire, still in shock. Hours seemed to pass as she sat there in the overstuffed chair with a blanket, watching the fire burn. A tear rolled down her face, and she reflected on her life, her dreams as a young girl, her parents and the happiness they shared in their big, beautiful home. Her dad, he loved to take them on Sunday drives and somehow always managed to find a place to hit those golf balls. There was such joy. It seemed a lifetime ago, and now the biggest hard knock in life hit her. Her dad did not have a chance to overcome cancer, but Jane decided that she would do whatever was necessary to beat this cancer. It would not bring her down. Jane had good insurance, and she had been an employee for a long time at this one law office, and they were very supportive. Jane knew she had to stay, but also knew it was this life of working that her heart was not doing what she wanted. She began drawing and painting. She joined a cancer group, and before long, she was helping others fight their cancer. People started buying Jane's paintings, and this happiness of creativity began to take over. And soon, Jane found her shorthand pencils were traded in for those art pencils and paint brushes. She took on a different job that provided health insurance, and Jane would begin writing speeches for others and to drive people to their doctor appointments. She would go to luncheons for cancer patients and give speeches of hope. Over time, Jane's cancer went into remission, and the light and that bubbly personality returned as she discovered her true passion was painting for others and helping others find their sparkle. Jane took her pain and turned it around. She found her imagination, her creativity, and the reason to get up in the morning. Jane was triumphant. The end. Earlier, I gave you some tips on listening before I began the story. I want to take a few seconds, and you can come back on a replay and write down some of your thoughts. But I want you to think about the story I just told you. I asked you earlier to listen for the main idea of the story. What was that main idea? Hopefully it's coming through your mind right now. And if you answered anything like a young lady who was successful in business, but the stress made her sick, she was not doing the work that made her happy, you're doing good. I asked you to listen for facts and details of the story. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to have some facts come back to you, and I'll share some with you. She did not go to art school like she wanted to. Her personal life was not healthy. Her work situation was taken advantage of. Jane became ill, and she beat breast cancer. Then I asked you, what is the conclusion of the story and what do you think? And I know you need more than a few seconds for that, so please come back to the replay and write this down. It will help develop those great listening skills and make you a better storyteller. Jane took a negative and she turned it into a positive, and she discovered her true mission in life. If you have anything similar, then you're on the right track for being a good storyteller and a good listener. Now, I want you to think of a person you know who took their pain and turned it to become a positive. I want you to write that down, and later today, I want you to enjoy taking what you just wrote and turn it into a story. And I would love for you to contact me and share your story. That would be just grand. It would be brilliant. Okay, let's listen to another story to unlock that imagination, because we're building those skills, because listening skills help you to become a better storyteller, because you're focusing in on what it is you want people to get out of the story. And we'll be sharing more of that and those tips on another Talking Head. Okay, this one's a fun one. It doesn't sound like it's going to be, but I promise you it's going to be. The choir. Kim fought back her tears as she lined up from her music classroom with her classmates to return to their 5th grade classroom. Kim was devastated by the news that she did not make the choir. Kim found it hard to concentrate for the rest of the morning subjects. At lunch, all the kids who made the choir talked about how much fun it would be, and Kim, who was new to the school, turned away from them as she did not want them to see the tears forming once more. Kim could not understand why she did not make the choir, as she was always told what a pretty voice she had at her other school. She was even in the talent show in 4th grade, and no one laughed at her. On the contrary, the applause was so grand that Kim knew she would always want to perform. But now that dream seemed to be out of reach. Her choir teacher did not want her. At recess, the girls only wanted to be with the other girls in choir, and Kim felt all alone. Walking home, she replayed her tryout and thought she did a perfect job. She relived how it was the day the music teacher, Mrs. Davis, would announce who made the choir, and Kim was so excited because she knew her name was going to be called out. But instead, Kim discovered she did not make the choir. She just kept singing it over and over in her mind. Her mama could tell something was wrong and sat down with her to find out the problem. Kim burst into tears and yelled, "Oh, Mama, I did not make the choir. It's so dreadful. I hate this new school. I want to go back to my old school." Her mama gently hugged her and calmed her down. Kim, she wiped her face with a handkerchief her mama gave her. She took a few puffy breaths and was quiet. Her mama said, "Now, Kim, tell me precisely what the teacher said." "Well, nothing. She just read the names and told people when and where choir practice would be." "Well, did you speak to her and ask her why?" "No, there was no time. We had to get back to the classroom. And besides, she had another class waiting in the hallway." "I see," Kim's mama said. Kim's mama lovingly stroked one side of Kim's long hair and gently placed it behind her shoulder. Then, As she began to stroke the other side of her hair, Kim's mama said, "Kim, in the morning, you go to the office and you ask for a pass to see the choir teacher during lunch if she's free. Then, when you see her, just let her know how much the choir means to you and ask, what can you do to make the choir? After all, she must have a good reason for you not to have made it." Kim hugged her mama and told her that was a great idea. The next day, Kim did as her mama instructed, and sure enough, Kim received a pass to visit the choir teacher. Mrs. Davis listened to Kim, and then Kim heard words she had never heard before. "You sing flat." Mrs. Davis explained and told Kim to go home and practice and come back in a week, and she would see if Kim had improved. Now, Kim did not have a piano, but she sang every day and drove her brothers crazy. A week later, Kim sang for the teacher, only to hear no. Kim started to tear up, and before she broke down, Mrs. Davis could see choir meant a lot to her. So she gave Kim an idea. Mrs. Davis asked Kim if her parents had the record Sound of Music, and Kim shook her head yes. Then Mrs. Davis told her to practice singing it over and over, that song, Do, Re, Mi, and for Kim to come back in a week and sing it for her. Once more, Kim's brothers went nuts with the same song playing over and over, and Kim singing loudly. Kim's mama took up for her, and Kim continued to practice. A week went by, and Kim tried out again, only to hear she was singing flat. Mrs. Davis decided to make a deal with Kim, and Kim quickly said yes. The deal was, "Kim, you can be in the choir, but only if you mouthed the words. This way, Kim, you could hear the notes, and eventually you'll be able to sing on pitch." Kim, she gave Mrs. Davis the biggest hug, and she sang all the way home. Well, what happened next? Let's just say that's another story to be told. The end. I love this story because I think we all can relate to something in our own life because we want something so badly that we had to work really hard to get it. Now, I want you to write down something that happened to you that made you have to work hard, and it will become a wonderful story. And as you think about those things, and maybe something in your own life or a family, or a brother or sister, an aunt or uncle, a story that you will be able to turn into historical fiction because maybe of the time frame it took place, a story in your own life, because Kim was me, by the way, so that you can make reality and you can have your own book for your family, or maybe you want to publish it in the real world. Today, you unlocked your imagination with the creativity of two stories, Pain and Triumph, Jane's pain and her triumph. You had the opportunity to discover Kim's journey from not making the choir to becoming a choir member. You were reminded how to prepare to listen to a story and what to listen for. And by unlocking this imagination and ready to listen and absorb it all, it will help you to become a better author, writer, storyteller, maybe even a songwriter. How lovely would that be? I would love to hear from you and the story ideas you've come up with. If you want to learn more about growing your story in written form, orally, or singing, you can contact me at diannfloydboehm.com. That is where you'll see my website, my newsletter, and you can subscribe to my newsletter. And right there at diannfloydboehm.com, you can send me an email. I want you to stay tuned for more of my tips because I'll be on Talking Heads again. Till next time, I hope you have a beautiful day and to remember to embrace imagination. Have a great day. Thank you, Dr. Jacqueline.
Wow, Diann, I felt like I was transported to a campfire and I was hearing these amazing stories. I loved it. And the
Thank
fact
you.
that the second one was you. Wow, my heart was just breaking thinking about how can she get accepted to be on this choir? Because something similar happened to me, actually. We have a number of comments. Let's take a
Oh,
look. From Cindy Flo, watching on YouTube, Diann, so incredible as an author with her amazing creativity and dedication to encouraging others to make the most of life.
oh,
Beautiful.
that's beautiful.
And joining us from Hungary over on Facebook is Judith
Wow.
Fish. Hi, Judith. Great as all programs on Global TV.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
so lovely. And
Well,
thank you, Cindy. She's a friend, so that was very kind of her.
we also have from our travel expert here at USA Global TV, Sandy Adams. Diann, this is fabulous.
Thank you.
And from our friend over in the UK, Anthony. Nice to have you, Anthony. She sends a smiley face. Cindy was actually responding to your questions. So she writes, listening is so important to truly understand anyone's story. Thank you for the reminder. And then when you asked, I guess, what the first story, I think, yes, her early life, Jane's life was not her dream.
That's true.
So,
And I just want to say that for everyone listening, that we all have a story. We're all storytellers. Every moment we wake up and we answer the phone call, or we're telling a story because we're talking, right? And so actually that story was about my aunt. So it was based on a true story.
well, Diann, I think you bring up a great point about everyone has a story. Not everyone can tell the story quite like you can.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I do get passionate about it, don't I?
It's excellent because you really draw people in. And I love the fact that you used the keys. That was, yeah. We have another comment from Cindy. Great application to everyone's life. And we each have a story to tell using our imagination. Diann, a question I have for you, for our audience, and also for me, is how does one become engaged in giving the story? So, in other words, you could tell a story like this or a monologue, but you really have a lot of passion and emotion, facial expressions, hand gestures. Any tips that you have for people on how they could be more animated in storytelling?
Yes, of course. And I'll be discussing that more on another Talking
I
Heads.
know.
But just to say that, of course, I was that little girl who, fourth grade, discovered the magic of the stage. And from that day forward, I was doing anything I could do to listen. To, again, hear that word, Dr. Jacqueline, listening. So everyone check out her listening mentor, and she did not pay me to say that, but it's really true. Listening to my teachers, anyone in, if I was, taking a class or made it into a community theater program, I was always listening to the instructor. Other kids might have been off to the side playing, but I actually, even when I was just 10 years old, I was sitting right in the middle of the auditorium and I listened to everything the teacher was saying to other actors or dancers, whatever the case might be, because every tip they were giving them, I could apply to me too. And I think that's really important, is to, whenever you have an opportunity, to listen and learn. Because it's not just about you, it's about, if you really want to do this, you want to, as you said earlier, draw people in. And the only way you can do that is to be focused on the person who's going to be receiving and how can they receive it and stay with you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Diann. That was fantastic. We do have your banner up. And so for people who are just joining, please do reach out to Diann. Your life will be changed for the better, I promise you.
Okay.
DiannFloydBoehm.com. Diann, you and I have two more shows coming up right after this, I
Yes,
think.
we do. I'm very excited.
It's a full day here at USA Global TV. So, Diann, thank you again. I'm going to spotlight you one more time now that we have your banner up, and please let people know how to reach you and who should reach out to you.
Sure, I'll be happy to. Again, thank you, Dr. Jacqueline, for this platform. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I truly appreciate it. Come back again. You can reach all of us at USA Global TV on YouTube, so be sure to subscribe. And you can reach me at Diann, Diann, Floyd, Floyd, Boehm, Boehm.com, DiannFloydBoehm.com. And from there, everything will be magic. Thank you.
Thank you. And Diann and I are looking forward to seeing you very shortly on the United Kingdom News and Culture, where we will be joined by our special correspondents, Helena Shard and Ian Pelham Turner. And following that, we will be on fashion, travel, and fitness. And we've got a great guest. She's joining us from Dubai.
That is absolutely correct. Woo, she's
Woo!
amazing. So, and how exciting the UK culture and news and our guests. They're phenomenal, aren't they?
They sure are. So thank you to everybody for watching. Please stay tuned. We have 9 shows in total today. So we've got a lot more coming up. All right. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.